What is this? Why is that? Whatever. Okay. I have sound waves, and that's all that matters.
That's all that counts.
And we're within the limits of the thing that make it look like we can talk to each other.
Yet these bifocals are still not good enough to read this bottle. Oh God.
Yeah, it's a very little bottle.
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
Welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandy.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about two women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome. I've had a variety of alcohol content in the past. I started at 3:30, 3,
yeah.
Something like that, around 3, because I had to do some show prep, because I figured like I should probably... Sorry, it's probably making noise in the headphones, me fucking with my glasses.
Fine. I'm gurgling.
Learn how to belch, goddammit.
I know, I can't. It's just not a thing that's going to happen. I gurgle.
When I was at the house, of course, I'm drinking. So when I was at the house, I was drinking J. California Cuvée.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Cuvée.
So it's sparkling wine, I think.
Yeah.
I was drinking it. I don't know what it is. I bought it. It sounded great. And I was going to give it to somebody and I decided not to because I wanted it.
Yeah, Cuvée is normally really yummy.
So I bought them something else. I didn't just let them go without.
Well, that's nice.
So I'm drinking it faster than you probably would because I feel like sparkling wine is meant to have like one glass amongst many friends or to put like, juice in it.
That's true. Although I've drank many a bottle of sparkling wine and
yeah,
you just get real gassy afterwards.
I mean, I used to, but it was usually like Asti Spumani.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking it out
Martini
of the
and
bottle.
Asti Spumani. Oh, yeah. That shit goes down real nice.
Just turning the bottle up and like going into a sugar diabetic coma.
And then I got real cheap and you go to the Ballatory because it's the cheaper end of it. Yeah.
So whatever's in the cooler, as long as it's not warm. But like I was belching my brains out. And before I came here, I'm like rating the gas X. So I'm like taking it, not because I'm going to poot, but because it's still not going to like take care of everything because I can feel like a belch on its way up. And I feel like I gave everybody enough belches on the last episode.
Yeah, the last episode was pretty belchy, but it was, it's what it is, people.
You're going to drink, you're going to have things happen.
Yep.
But no, so I was drinking that and then I, what else did I take? In the past couple of times we've met, I've had like a bad tummy. So I took some ginger capsules.
Well, in all fairness too, I feel like the last couple of times, well, maybe not last time, but like there's been a couple of times in a row here where we were supposed to meet up and then I was like, oh, hey, no, I'll be there. I had a thing pop up, but I'll be there in an hour. And so you've had an hour head start and then like,
yeah,
you
I
drank
still
all the
had
things.
an hour head start today.
You did, yes.
I feel like I drank myself sober.
Yeah.
From the cuvee. I had to pour out like a fourth of the bottle because you can't save it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fizzy when I get back.
No, they
You
make
can't
special
get that
toppers for it,
fucking
but it's
cork
not.
back in
yeah, no, you can't do the cork.
So,
you got to have one of the special topper things that seals it. And
so we normally don't get to talk about shit that we drink. Let's see. We've had a Zing Zang. I've had the cuvee, a Zing Zang Bloody Mary, a Freezer Rita.
Strawberry. Yeah. Margarita popsicle.
Sorry.
There you go. I've had 2 shots of Fireball and some lovely gummy bears.
A few spoonfuls of gummy bears.
Yeah. Pineapple gummy bears soaked in Malibu.
Yeah. If you get a Walgreens, they have just bags of pineapple Haribo.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
So Haribo, I feel is, I know we're going to disagree on this. I feel that Haribo is a, what do you call it? It's not as good as Albanese.
Oh, I don't know what Albanese is.
Albanese are really gummy. I feel like Haribo's can be kind of hard.
Stop listening to me. Seriously, my phone's been doing this all weekend and I don't know what upgrade or something it did.
Mine does it too. When I'm listening to podcasts, it'll all of a sudden stop and it's like, tell me what you want. And I'm like, I don't want anything.
Well, that's the thing.
Nobody was talking to you.
I won't say the name. I won't even say the anything. And all of a sudden it'll be like, boop, and it'll start recording. And it's like, oh, I can't find that. And I'm like, I didn't talk to you. What the hell? All right.
Those gummy bears are very sticky.
And it's on silent and it still beeped. Oh, I had a hiccup. That hasn't happened in a while. Okay.
So I went to Walgreens and I have rum and gummy bear all over my hands.
Oh,
And I went to, if you grab this, grab it by the bottom. And also I think my spoon is sticky. But I saw this on TikTok because TikTok is a great place to learn how to drink. I went and got the Haribos because they're hard gummies. Superior gummy. That's what the Albanese are, a superior gummy, which makes Haribo an inferior gummy to me. But they're, you want the harder gummy though.
Yeah.
Because what you're going to do is you're going to get a jar that doesn't spill.
Right.
And that is pretty well sealed. And you fill it full of gummy bears. And then you fill the empty space. You have to go over the top of the gummy bears.
Yeah.
I did not do that the first time, so I had to flip this upside down. But you go over the top of the gummy bears and you end up with a beautiful jiggler-like consistency of Malibu pineapple gummy.
And they're delicious.
They are. They're really good.
I would recommend either a Tupperware container or a mason jar.
Yeah, this is Ball makes plastic containers.
Nice.
I mean, I wouldn't freeze that.
Right.
But you can turn it upside down.
Yeah.
And it won't spill.
Yeah.
That's all I found out.
Fantastic. I love it. And they're delicious.
Absolutely. So let's see. Zing Zang. Those are 9%. Those are great. Drink a
I had
bottle
one
of
of
wine.
those. I'm still in the middle of mine.
Had a freezerita. Oh, I
did not have a freezerita.
I dumped an
Absolute Wild Tea.
I dumped an Absolute Wild Tea shooter into it because I thought that I was 22 and I decided to take half of it like a shot. And I haven't had a shot in 10 years. No, that's not true. No, that's absolutely true. Nope, that's absolutely true.
I haven't had a shot in 5 days. Yeah, I had Fireball shots out of the thing.
And now I'm drinking a Platform Open Market, which is yummy.
Yeah, that sounds yummy. So I've got a Zing Zang right now. I had the Fireball and I had some gummies, and I feel like I had something else. What else did I drink?
I need to be very clear that our gummies are Malibu and they're normal gummies.
Yeah, they're not other gummies.
Brandy's allergic.
Yeah, I can't do the other gummies.
And we should one thing. I have to be very careful about how I take them because I forget, like with the other kind of gummies, that you need an hour and a half
to kick in.
Yeah. And then I do the same thing I used to do in my 20s, which is just drink as much as possible in the first hour that you have it, and then regret the consequences for the next 8 hours.
I feel like you need to take one before you start doing something that's like active that you have to do, so that you don't have time to drink as much or anything.
Yeah.
That way it's time to kick in before you actually start to relax and like chill for the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I chilled so hard in my MRI that I was like sleeping. And they give you directions in the MRI and I'm like, I don't fucking care.
I'm not doing that.
I'm like, there's a humming noise and I really like it. So I was tuning into the humming noise.
Yeah.
When I had the gummy, I had 2 gummies. I took a gummy, I bit quarter of a cookie, and then an hour later I was like, not feeling anything, so I ate another gummy. Those were mistakes that cannot be undone. So I went in literally to my MRI like I was tiptoeing, like what you see on the cartoons, like like I'm tiptoeing in, and I was like, I self-medicated. The girl's like, you what? And I was like, I'm doing this the Colorado way. I self-medicated with a gummy or 2 that I found. Like I just picked them up off the street.
Yeah, it was on the ground. I figured, why not?
It's horrible. I couldn't follow instructions. It was bad.
But I mean, in all fairness, you did this because MRI, you're claustrophobic kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was stuck in an MRI for my shoulder, which I feel like they should be able to like have your head out somewhere. Yeah. But no, my head was in, and they had to give me an eye mask.
Oh yeah.
So that I couldn't open my eyes and look at it makes it worse.
Oh. Oh God.
I'm getting anxious.
I feel like you're getting anxious talking about your clothes.
Yeah. So that's why I decided to self-medicate, is because I know that happens. I watched the movie The Descent, not The Ascent. That'd be a completely different thing. Yeah. Coming out of hell, going up. That'd be great.
I mean,
The Descent is women spelunkers.
Oh.
They're cave people, and they decide to somebody lost their husband, I think. I don't know. There was a tragedy.
Like I would equate that entire thing to a horror movie.
It is.
Okay.
So it's a tragedy. There's like this tragedy one woman has, and so like her fellow not cave diggers. I'm joking.
The cave dwellers.
The people who, they're spelunkers. They go and explore caves. They like plan this trip for her.
It's like literally my worst
and
nightmare.
it turns sinister and dark. And the first time I saw it, I watched through a blanket, and like
I would have
literally
to do that.
through a blanket.
Yeah.
And I've seen it 4 other times, and it has
God.
not lost its anxiety. But the entire movie is anxious for me because they're.
Why do you keep watching it?
Because it's really good. It's one of the best horror movies that I have seen. It's one of the best horror movies if you didn't watch horror movies in the 70s.
Okay.
And there's some gore, but very little. It's very suspenseful.
I'm much better with gore than I am suspense. Like, give me somebody just getting their head chopped off, and I'm like, yeah, okay, blood everywhere, fine.
I'm like, no,
whatever.
I'd have to pee my pants.
Doesn't bother me a bit. You give me suspenseful, and I'm like, oh god, I can't handle this, and then I have nightmares for like 3 weeks. I saw Insidious, and it was like, to me, the absolute worst. Like, I thought The Ring was bad, and then I saw Insidious, and like I lost my shit for like 3 straight weeks. Like, I have a cat who I don't know if he just knows I'm on edge, but I was laying in bed and I rolled over, and he like had his front paws on the edge of the bed and his head was just poking over. And if you've ever seen that movie, there's a scene where somebody else is on the ceiling or whatever, and it just freaks you out. And like, I literally rolled over and his face was right in my face, and I screamed bloody murder, like screamed. And I lived in a very small apartment at the time. Pretty sure I woke everybody up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was not okay.
No, I don't have nightmares about the stuff. So like, I have my own nightmares. That's just like part of PTSD is that I have these weird ass nightmares. Anyway, but I can fall asleep to. I used to fall asleep to Criminal Minds when it was on A&E 24/7.
That I can watch all
I
day
put that
long.
on, have it on.
CSI, all those.
48
I love
Hours,
those.
CSI, anything.
48 hours I can't though as much because that one's like real life.
And I don't mean, is it 48 hours? The next 48, the one where they like track the 48 hours after a homicide.
Oh,
it's
okay.
like the live, or
Yeah.
not the live, but it's the documentary style one.
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep to that on. I don't really care. You can be cutting something up.
Yeah.
I'll sleep right through it. Now, will it infiltrate my dreams sometimes? Yeah. But hey, if Matthew Gray Gubler wants to infiltrate my dreams, or Shamar, who am I to refuse?
Right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Criminal Minds is okay. I can watch that all day long.
But no, the whole thing, it's claustrophobic because I am, and I like a movie that is incredibly claustrophobic.
Yeah, I can't. Caves like freak me the fuck out. I can't do caves. So like, I lose my shit. Like, even getting invited to go, like, okay, so when I first started dating my current significant other, like, he has some people that he knows that do caves and camping in caves and all that kind of stuff, and he thought it was really cool. And like, he knew I didn't like caves, and then he invited me to go like on a camping trip, right? But then I found out, like, I was in the bar, found out that the camping trip was like in the cave.
No,
like before you go down in the cave, but it was like still in the entrance of the cave, and I lost my fucking shit. And I was like, no, absolutely not.
I go to bats, spiders, centipedes, mice, rats, bear.
See, I don't like the bug thing. Yes, I don't like bugs when I'm camping and stuff, but like, literally in my mind, the entire thing is going to collapse on my head.
There's that too. Oh, I have that one. Damn it. What are the caverns? Up near Zanesville or whatever, where they do the haunted.
They have
thing.
the haunted caverns. I won't. I absolutely will not.
So we went, and I was fine, except for the fact that it's a steep entrance in and out.
Yeah.
So you almost feel like you're going to slide all the way in, but I did not. I was fine for about the first 10 or... I do this on amusement rides too. So I was fine for about the first 10 or 15 minutes we were in there. And the further in we got, the more I was like, it's all going to collapse in on us. Why is there a truck driving around down here? We're all going to die of carbon monoxide poisoning and nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
And then the cave is going to cave in and I'm not going to be able to get out. And I'm going to die alive. Somebody eating my leg because I'm the fat one. And I mean, this happened within 5 minutes of being in a specific part of the haunted caves.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't. We're never going back. I don't mind doing haunted things. I I'm fine with the Halloween shit.
Yeah.
But we are never going underground again.
Yeah.
Not even a basement.
I've done the Halloween thing. So first, I hate Halloween things, like the haunted houses and stuff like that. Like I've always hated them. I have an ex who loved those things. And so I kind of started, I didn't get desensitized to them, but he wanted to go to them all the time. So we started light, and I was like, I will go on the ones that you ride. So the hay rides, the bus rides, the things that will drive me around that I don't have to walk. All right. I will go on those ones. So we started with that. And then we kind of progressed a little bit. And I got to the point where I could go in things, but I feel like my fight or flight response is very heavily in the fight category. So like
You have to keep your hands to yourself.
I have to keep my hands to myself. So I became verbally abusive to these people. So the only way I can
They're
make
used
it
to that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The only way I can make it through these things is to literally yell at the people who are like trying to scare me and like call them like I'm the worst, and I don't like they don't deserve that. They're just doing their job. So like
oh no, like I'm running through there like, you cunt fucker.
I'm like, fuck you. I know you're in a mask. Like, you know, just stupid shit. So the only time I ever actually enjoyed it was when we were at Kings Island and they have, you know, the Halloween haunt thing. Fantastic. I was there. They had an open bar for people. We had a VIP pass thing to open bar.
Oh, see, then you would like the one in Middletown, where the
Land of Illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that one before too. So
that was fun.
Back when I worked in the media, I would get media passes.
Actually, can I tell you, I like being in the building ones better than I like the one that's out in the open.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't like
well,
that
the one
one
that's
at
out in the open one is a little bit too dark, a little bit too real, and there's a chainsaw thing, and I don't like the chainsaw.
I don't do the chainsaw things either.
The chainsaw
I know
run
there's
out?
not a.
No.
I know there's not a
chain on it.
A chain.
I get it, but I'm sorry. You still get a little too close, and I can feel the air up my skirt, and I don't like it. So I'm running away.
Don't wear a skirt to Land of Illusion.
That's true. Don't do that. Tennis shoes and jeans, people. Tennis shoes and jeans.
Go on the zombie hunt.
Yeah. Oh no, the zombie hunt with paintball guns is fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Except for you like lose a lot of money because you keep buying more reloads.
It's worth it.
It is. But so we were at Kings Island once, and we were going through one of the indoor Halloween things, and we're running through, and all of a sudden in the middle of a scene, and I felt real bad because I was like second in line. One of the girls who's supposed to be like dying or something goes, "Oh my God, Brandy!" And she comes over and hugs me, and she's supposed to be like a dead stripper or something. And she was
Dead
like,
strippers in Kings Island. I love it.
She was like a ex coworker that I worked with like while I was in college. And so she comes over and hugs me, and everybody in line's like, "What's happening?" And like the people in the scene are like, "Are we still supposed to be scaring people? What's happening?" But I hadn't seen her in like 10 years, and so it was real random. And so it was kind of hilarious. And I was like, all right, I like this now.
Oh my God. We went to one, I'm not sure, I don't think they still do it. It was down Webster Station, that area in Dayton.
Oh, yeah.
And so they would expand it
Yeah.
every weekend. So you would go and there might be like, the first walkthrough might be 20 minutes. And by the end of the season, it's like 45 minutes to get through it. And so there was, oh my God, I've had so many bad experiences and yet I still go. We went in one room and it was all like the hypnotized swirly things.
Oh, I hate those.
It was all of that. But then there was a person in the corner that had a suit that matched the wall, including a mask on their face. And they came out of nowhere and I'm screaming and running. But you realize when you're going through a haunted house, there are people ahead of you.
Yeah.
So you can't go very far.
No.
And I think that they had backed up. So they just followed us. And I was like, get the fuck away from me. We went to one in, where's that at? It's near Cedarville, Ohio. You guys Google. We told
Seriously.
you we're in Hick, Ohio. So we went to this one near Cedarville and it was a farm. It used to be a farm. I don't know what it was, but we went because we heard it was really good. It's between Cedarville and Springfield.
Okay.
And so we go to it, and the first thing that terrified me was they make you go through a cattle run.
What?
So like you have to go the zigzag through a cattle run, and they try and sell you like arm bracelets and neck neck bracelets, necklaces.
Okay, I was like, neck
neck
braces? Like, are you going to break your neck during
A
this
neck
thing? Like, what's
bracelet
happening?
is called a necklace.
Yep. Okay.
So bracelets and necklaces that glow in the dark. And I'm like, why would I want those? And they were like, it's very dark in most of the haunted parts. And I was like, how dark could it be? I mean, come on.
I'm guessing pretty dark.
It was very dark. So we go through the cattle run, which is dark. So you're just banging on walls. And then occasionally somebody would jump up on one side of the wall or the other. They like have free run. I'm not sure if they have on like not glow in the dark, night
Blacklight
vision,
stuff?
night vision
vision
goggles or
goggles.
what. They're scaring the shit out of us every 5 minutes. So then you get to a certain point. We've discussed claustrophobia, and they want you to crawl through a chute.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't crawl. Not during haunted houses.
So not like get down. So like when I say crawl, it's like a hole that's like 2 feet up off the ground. And they were like, go pass through this. And I burst into tears.
Yeah.
And like had a full PTSD meltdown.
No.
And I'm not blaming my PTSD. I kid you not. Like the entire, like I was having horrible.
Nope.
It was horrible.
Nope.
And the guy was like, I will give you a flashlight if you will just go through here because we have people behind you. Like we need you to just, I will give you the flashlight. Just give it to the first person you see when you get to the other side.
Yeah.
So they let me through and I was fine. And then things get a little better, but I could tell that somebody, so we have this girl that I knew, this friend of ours from Mexico that has never been in anything haunted. We took him to the Blue Jacket one that used to happen at the Caesars Ford. Blue Jacket was an outdoor play that they used to put on. So they would use that ground to like set up haunted house stuff. It was really cool. And so we took him there. We took him someplace else. And he's never been in a haunted house ever in his entire life. So this was a great evening for him. And I'm leading up the rear of a train that was just crashing into shit. So,
Oh God.
we get through the little hole in the thing. And then we're going through this other maze, pitch black. I can't see my hand in front of my face. We each have a hold of each other's belt loops.
Oh dear God.
So it's this girl, Chris, this guy, Renee. They'll never listen to this. If they do, Chris and Renee are perfectly fine names. Chris, Renee, and myself. And so we're going through, and the only reason I'm in the back is because he's never done this before. So he is, let me explain a little bit about Renee. He is a super flyweight boxer. I think that's what you are when you're like 148 to 152.
I mean, the fact that he's a boxer is enough explanation.
He's
for
a
me.
professional. He's this tiny little professional boxer, and he was just an adorable human. But we have him, so he fights people for a living.
Oh dear God.
But we put him between us because he was like, this is scary. And I'm like, yeah, your first time is always scary. It's your first time with anything. It's always scary. So we put him between us. We're going through this one section after we pass through the chute. And I said, there's something behind me. And Chris said, what is it? And I was like, I wasn't scared at that point because it's like an actor behind you.
Probably following you, yeah.
I said, there's something behind me. She's the funniest thing that happened that whole night. The rest of it was just terrifying. I said, there's something behind me. She said, it's probably blah, blah. And I was like, I think it's a monster. And the guy behind me, who was the actor, because there's nobody behind me, goes, I am not a monster. I'm a human being, which is from The Elephant Man. And I laughed so hard. And then he broke character and was laughing. And then he just turned on the flashlight and let us go through to the next section. So we get to one section, and you were speaking about chainsaws. We get to this one section through a door. You were in this carpeted 4-wall room. And none of the walls open.
No.
So you're just banging against them trying to get out. And then one wall opens and a chainsaw guy comes in.
No.
And yet none of the walls will open.
So you're in a room with a chainsaw.
And you're just running in circles.
So there's
banging
no
on
run
walls.
out. There's just a chainsaw.
And then eventually one of the walls will give way and let you out. I don't know how I didn't pee my pants.
Oh my God.
I have run one of the JC's haunted houses. I ran out of it and there was a chainsaw chasing us. I ran so hard that I ran into a wall, broke my hand.
Oh my God.
And ran to the car, just kept running.
Oh God. See, I feel like at that point, like if I was stuck in a room with a chainsaw guy, like I would try and dodge until the point that I got behind him and just kneed him like in the ass or something. Try to get him out.
Fuck you, I'm taking your knee out.
That's right. Screw you. I will kick you.
Stomp on the instep.
I should not be allowed in haunted houses. It's just not a safe environment for anyone.
Things I'm not doing with Brandy. Haunted house,
no.
Vacation.
There you go.
I can't believe I suggested going on vacation with you.
I know. It's I have bad luck with vacations.
I was like, what we should do next year is go on a vacation together.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a cruise, an all-inclusive with the four of us, the significant others. And then just now I'm like, we should remember Brandy's history of trips.
Because I'm supposed to be on vacation right now. The reason we're recording, we were going to have to take a little bit longer break because both of us had vacations and things. I'm supposed to be in the Dominican Republic right now. I'm clearly not. So it started out that I'm not because my significant other, like a little bit more than a week beforehand, he was getting all of his documentation and everything together and realized that he thought the passport expired next year, but it expired this year. So it was expired.
Mistake, since you guys haven't gone
Yeah,
anywhere.
we haven't gone anywhere. And like, I don't blame him. I'm not mad about it. But he called me right in the middle of like, I was in the middle of an event that I was planning and I was like in the middle of running around to different places and stuff. And so I was like, okay, yep. And he was very apologetic. And I'm like, dude, look, it's fine. Like we'll reschedule. We'll find another place to go. We'll just, whatever, it'll be fine. So I let it go. But then within the next week before we were supposed to leave, I was told by a person, they were like, oh, I told them about our vacation and what it was supposed to be. They were like, oh, well, did you hear about all those people who died in all-inclusives in the Dominican Republic? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And then I started looking it up and it turns out from like 2018 until now, there's been multiple people like each year who have died in all-inclusives. Granted, I don't think any of them were the exact same all-inclusive we were staying in, but still Dominican Republic in the same area.
I think that's a good...
Yeah.
I think that there is a Dominican Republic tourist serial killer.
I mean, well, and like the thing is, like these are like couples in their 40s who died in their sleep overnight. And like I looked up some of the articles and it's like, oh, determined natural causes. And I'm like, who in their 40s?
Together.
Yeah,
who
together.
Dies
the
together?
Couple together. And then there's like theories out there where it's like carbon monoxide. There were theories about how people are getting their drinks spiked and things like that.
If it was carbon monoxide, here's what I know.
You would
from
think
TV.
more people than just two would die, right?
Here's what I know from TV. You turn bright red, like you're pink, bright red. That's you would know.
Well, my thing is if they're all in the same hotel,
I mean, they would know, but
right.
You would know.
But I would think more than just two people would die, right?
Right.
Like it would be multiple. I don't know. But anyway, so I looked it up and I was like, oh, that seems kind of awful. And then also, like, they like what 3 days ago Ray Liotta died in the Dominican Republic. Now granted, I don't think he was staying at all-inclusive. He was there shooting a movie and it says cardiac arrest and he died of a heart attack. But I literally was like, you know what, this just cements my decision that I feel like this was a fantastic thing that our vacation got canceled. So we're still here and not on
Brandy
vacation.
0, vacations 3.
Yeah, so far that seems to be the pace we're going at. Yeah,
I love it.
apparently work vacations work out though, because Vegas was great. We already talked about that. So like, I just need to work when I'm gone. I can't.
I'm the
vacation.
opposite. My work trips never go well. Like I'm laid over for 5.5 hours. Plus I'm missing a flight. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, it's fine.
Whatever. I don't care. I hate going to Vegas.
Apparently work trips work out great for me. Vacations, not so much.
I hate going to Vegas so hard. Because there's no straight way there because you're losing time going backwards.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you get there, even if there was such a thing as a red eye, I'm like, it's the same. It's the same going there or going back. But like, I feel like they don't have as many direct flights west as they do east.
Well, so I lucked out with mine and I got a direct flight both ways.
Oh,
because I left. I know, right?
Well, because Brandy's work trips work out.
Right. Brandy's work trips are magical. I had direct flights out of Cincinnati straight there. So I literally left at 7 a.m. out of Cincinnati and got there at like 8:15 in the morning.
I hate you.
And it was, so I got there and it was like, okay, I have a whole day before my conference starts. And then coming back, I took the red eye. So I got on a flight at like 10:30 at night. And like, I got off the flight, I slept and woke up and it was like 5:30, 6 a.m. in
But why
Cincinnati.
isn't
And
the red
drive
eye
home.
both ways? Because you're losing
Yeah.
time. Actually, I mean, you leave at, well, you're gaining time going west, but whatever.
Well, that's the thing. If you did a red eye going out there, you would leave at like, what, 11 p.m., but you'd get in at midnight.
I'm all right with that.
I know, but like, yeah, that's so.
But you can't check into your well, no, because
You
if
could.
yeah, you could check into your hotel.
But like, you're basically checking into your hotel then at midnight, and I mean, I don't know. It worked out for me because I also like paid an extra $40 to check into my hotel room early because you're not supposed to check in until like 4 p.m. But I got there at 9 o'clock in the morning and I was like, hey, can I check into my room? And they were like, yeah, it's an extra $40. I'm like, sure, great, here you go.
Right, here you go. Here's 220s, bitch.
Yep.
Whatever.
I was
Hey,
like,
you want half the
I'm
20
gonna go
that
take
I
a
had?
nap.
Do you want half the 20 I had the other night?
I'm gonna take a nap and unpack because I can do that right now and still get up and have time to do other shit. And it worked out because I almost put in a full work day because while I was on the plane I had Wi-Fi. So, and it's a like 3.5, 4 hour flight. So I literally
I would have slept through that.
Oh, I worked well on the way down there. On the way back I slept, but on the way there I literally worked for like 3 hours on the plane. So I put in 3 hours of work time on the way down there.
No, I fall asleep in any conveyance. If I'm not driving,
Yeah.
I'm sleeping. So, and I've determined that like having a neck pillow doesn't help me.
Oh yeah.
Because what I will do, if the fucker in front of me puts their seat back, works for me until they put it back up. But I will, either way, I will take my sweatshirt because I wear like multiple layers. I will take a layer or two and I will ball them up and I will put them on the seat in front of me and I will sleep hands down by my side, forehead on the seat in front of me.
Oh, now I will say on my way back, I splurged a little bit in the airport and I bought myself a new neck pillow because I found a fancy one.
The one that like pumps your head up like you've got rings on your neck.
No, it like, okay. So first of all, it has straps on the back of it that attaches to your seat.
Oh, first of all, do you know that we're all wearing our pillows backwards?
Oh no, I saw that on TikTok. But here's the thing: the one that I bought, you have to wear it. You have to wear it
because it attaches to the seat.
It has straps on it. It attaches to the seat, but then it also connects in the front, so it completely closes. And not only does it have the like regular neck pillow thing, but then it has an extra little pillow on top of that, so that it goes up further around like your jaw to actually keep your like neck up a little bit.
So that you're not like
So you can literally like when you like start leaning forward a little bit, it's attached to the seat, so it holds you up, and then the extra little neck pillow holds your neck up, so you're not like totally chin into your chest or the neck pillow. It was $40, which was a lot of money at the airport, but also I was like, that was very well worth it because when I got back into Cincinnati, I was like, oh my god, that was a magical sleeping experience on a plane.
My sleeping experience on the plane is just putting my head all the way back and letting all the people. I wake myself up. So
With the story?
No,
Yeah.
I'm awake. What happened?
Oh my
and then I
God.
just put my head back again. So every 10 minutes, I'm like looking around me, going back to sleep.
It's fine. Everybody else is sleeping too.
I don't give a shit.
There's so many people snoring on the planes. It's fine.
I'm never going on vacation.
Oh my god.
I'm not going to go through the victims' names, although I would do it better than Trump did. Because the fucker has never met a name he couldn't slaughter.
Yeah. Regardless of when this gets posted, we're literally recording like what 4 days after
the Uvalde shooting.
Yeah.
And like 8 days after the Tops shooting.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
The one in Buffalo, the supermarket shooting. Mm-hmm. So there was a mass shooting at a Tops market. So the guy wrote a 180-page manifesto. Had 14. Oh, God. So he was recording and or streaming it the entire time. He had a 14 on his AR-15, like a number 14 carved into it and the N-word carved into it. 14 being like these 14 words from some white supremacist thing. And he had a 180-page white supremacist manifesto that he put out. He drove, I think, like 400 miles to a black neighborhood, to a grocery store.
First of all, it said that he had to drive 400 miles to get to a black neighborhood.
So he drove and started shooting in this. I think there were 13 injured, 10 dead, 10 dead, 3 more injured, however you want to put it. You're talking like 60, 70, 80-year-old women that he was shooting. One of the content folks that I follow, because this puts it into context for Uvalde, he was I should be completely transparent. My husband has AR-15s. However, my husband's shoot shit up index, 0.
Yeah.
He is an enthusiast, and
He goes to ranges.
If they were to outlaw them, he would comply. He would never fail a mental health thing. He would never fail a criminal background check. He is the Boy Scout he was raised to be.
Yeah.
Honey has been an Eagle Scout since the day he made the badge.
Yeah.
So, so we have them. We have them.
Yeah.
And do I personally think that they should be available? Probably not. I get the enthusiasm about them.
Yeah.
So he shoots things, but they're targets and they're at a range.
Yeah.
And we pay for that. So if there were to be a ban, he would understand it. He would comply with it.
Yeah.
He thinks they're neat. That's all he thinks about them.
Yeah.
So the kid had on his AR-15, 14, the N-word. He went in. He was taken into custody because, he's white.
Yeah.
But he had on armor, body armor, and some other things. Much different situation than what happened in Uvalde. I think everybody should be angry about Uvalde. I don't care what side of the political spectrum that you fall on. If you're not angry about it,
Yeah.
The amount of whataboutism and I don't know. I need to stop saying the amount of apologetic. What do they call it? Apologist kind of fucking rhetoric that you're getting from certain people. Like it. But if it weren't for, but it's not the gun. But it's not the. You know what? There's a problem.
Right.
There's a problem. So that kid in for the top shooting, 18 years old. This kid, 18 years old. There were 19 children killed, originally reported as 14. I'm assuming some died at hospitals. There were not hospitals around them that could deal with traumatic gun injuries. There was a content creator that tried to explain to people, like, when you see stuff on TV, you see a pistol bullet, like a replication of a pistol bullet hole.
Yeah.
And that is like the size of your thumb.
Right.
Maybe. An AR-15 makes a hole the size of a coaster, if not bigger.
Oh my God.
And this kid, children were having to be identified by DNA on site. 19 children. One guy found out that his daughter was killed from her classmate, who the little girl was killed right beside. So he didn't know. So there's that, just to say that the children were unrecognizable because of the velocity of the projectile and what it would do to you and how unrecognizable they were. They were doing a lot of identification through DNA. And there's so much coming out about this. Like, if you're just not angry with the kid going in, there's so much else coming out about it. Like the fucking law enforcement that didn't go in.
Yeah.
Or they did go in and they got their own kids out.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
And they were stopping parents from going in.
Yeah.
Which I think any of us, there's a guy on TikTok that I was like, you know what? You're right. His name was, he goes by Thomas, at Thomas the Villain. And he was right when he said, you don't have to have a dog in the fight to be pissed off about this.
Yeah.
And if you were driving by a situation about this, you don't have to have a dog in the fight to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like if there are more of us than there are of them, let's just go in.
Right.
And it's heartbreaking at how wrong this all went. I mean, I don't give a shit about this guy and that he died in a gun battle. There's so much shit about this that went wrong.
Yeah.
And it took too long.
Well, I heard it took them 40 minutes to even breach the classroom. Like after they got there.
Longer is what I believe. I think it took them 40 minutes to show up on scene after the 911 call.
That's ridiculous.
He was, and don't take my word for this, but he was confronted by a they have their own police force for the school system. So he was confronted by somebody from the school's police force, and then he was confronted by 3 police officers. And so these 4 people, 3 to 4 people were wounded.
Okay.
And again, don't take my, I'm going to make mistakes on this. But in general, these 4 people were wounded. And then there was, so they're like kids calling with their dead teacher's phone to 911.
Oh my God.
And there's a police presence that is gathering outside.
Not going in.
Except for the ones who went in and got their own children. There was a police officer that entered the premises and said, call out if you need help, like call out and let us know where you are. And this one little girl said, this little boy said, I told my friend not to call out. And she called out anyway. And the gunman found her and shot her.
Oh dear God.
So apparently that's not a thing you're supposed to do, is enter a building and be like, hey, if you're in danger, call out so that somebody can figure out how to shoot you.
Yeah.
There were so many things that went wrong. And I feel like there's so much accountability on the police officers. And sorry, I'll give you an opening here in a second.
You're fine.
I'm very angry at what's happened since then, which is this demonization of a call for gun control. And I don't understand. You guys all heard Steve Kerr from the Golden State Warriors when he said, there are 50 senators holding hostage an HRA bill that has extended background checks.
Yeah.
And the majority of the country is fine with extended background checks.
Yeah.
Because why? People who are getting guns for regular, normal purposes would never
fail a background check.
Right. And they wouldn't be offended by it.
Right.
Like, go ahead, search my background. I don't give a shit. You're not going to find shit out about me. I probably would be disqualified if they pulled my mental health thing, but that's fine. that's fine.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. If they think that like I'm not medicated well enough, that's great. Just fucking great. But the number of people who are demonizing the call for a change, we've had more mass shootings in 2022 than we have days so far.
That's incredibly sad.
Yeah. We have more mass school shootings than any kind. Like, we are first in the worst things.
Yeah.
2019 gun violence. I have been reading a lot about this. 2019 gun violence, not mass shootings, not this, that, and the other. 2019 gun violence statistics. We fall between Venezuela and Brazil,
which is saying a lot.
Yeah. We're in the top 3.
Yeah.
For the wrong thing.
Yeah.
We are one of the lowest in education, in healthcare, in maternal morbidity, in maternal mortality, infant mortality. There are so many things that we are in the bottom of, and the things that we are in the top of
are the bad things
we should fucking be ashamed of.
Yeah.
So I just, this week has been nothing compared to the parents that have lost children.
Yeah.
But it's very frustrating because we are people who own the types of weapons they're talking about. And maybe there should be a radical change.
Well, and so the reason I'm semi-quiet on the subject is because I don't know a lot about the shooting, and because I know it happened and I have a headline, but I don't. So I worked in news for 11 years. And 11 years of having in-your-face news coverage every morning for 4.5 hours of little children getting shot, and then prayers and thoughts for a week and a half, and then commentary radio people saying that it's a hoax, and grieving parents interview after interview, and seeing, just massive funerals. And it gets to a point where you either become a horrible human being, and not a horrible human being, because anybody who works on TV and things knows what I'm talking about. You desensitize yourself to those things while you're in that environment, right? Because you can't think about it too much. You can't put too much thought into it or have too much emotion about it, because otherwise you can't do your job.
Yeah.
So you're just hearing this over and over and over again. And so I got out of news 2 years ago, and I got to work, and one of my coworkers was just so very upset about it. And she started talking about it. And I literally looked at her and said, I haven't looked at anything about it. And I'm not going to, because I can't.
Yeah.
Because I am at the point now where I've seen so many of these that it is so frustrating that we have done this over and over and over and over, and we don't do anything about it. And I think like 10 years ago, it was like Australia. I saw an interview with one of the guys who was a politician at the time, and they had something go wrong, and the politicians who were in office made a decision.
They had a school shooting in the 80s or 90s, a mass shooting.
And the politicians in office at the time, they made a decision, and they said, you know what? We're going to do something about this. None of us are probably going to be in office through the next election, but we're going to do it because it'll make a difference. And so they put in gun control laws, and it went through, and it happened, and Australia hasn't had a fucking shooting since then. And they were right. They didn't get elected the next election. But you know what? They also haven't had a fucking mass shooting in a school since then.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so clearly that made a difference. And in the US, we won't even do the most basic things that are like, and most reasonable people, like your husband, who is an enthusiast of guns.
Yeah.
Like, and I know we have our Second Amendment rights to bear guns, and I feel like,
you know what?
Most people need to read those fucking words too.
Get as much black powder muskets as you want.
Right.
Fucking go ahead.
Like, do it.
Because that amendment was not written
while
with
there
the
was
foresight of knowing that you would be able to shoot more than one bullet in a row.
Right. Like that's my thing. I feel like we have progressed on so many things, but for some reason we stand in the background in some of these things. And there is no reasonable human being who wants to own a gun who would not agree to have education before you owned a gun, have a background check before you had a gun, have a license to own a gun. Like these are basic things that you have to do to drive a car, to have other things that you can do, liability things. Like I have to have a fence around my backyard if I own a trampoline or a pool. Otherwise I'm liable if some asshole walks into my yard and gets in my pool and drowns.
Yeah.
But like I can go buy a gun with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine.
I mean, as long as you have a clear criminal background, and that depends on where you buy it at, because there are
and depends on where you live and whatever else.
I'm gun shows and freaking flea markets. I realize the flea market thing, but the people expect to buy a gun on demand.
Yeah,
So I don't think that there has to be a waiting period. This asshole in Uvalde bought an AR-14, went someplace else and bought 373 rounds of ammunition, went back the next day and bought another AR-15 from, I don't know if it's another vendor or whatever, bought another AR-15 and did this. You should know at a gun shop that I should be able to look in a registry and see that you just bought one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why do you need a second one? So when you talked about Australia, and I am paraphrasing because I looked it up. I saw like a meme about it and I didn't believe that. So I went ahead and looked up on the website, which if you look at my Google history, please don't fucking call me the feds. Because I said, what do you have to do? What I typed in was, what do you have to do to get a gun in Australia?
Yeah.
I'm never going to Australia.
Yeah, no.
So I would love to, but I'm not going to go there to get a gun.
You're now on a no-fly list.
Australia just put me on a list and we're like, don't let her in. She shows up at the border, fucking turn her away.
Yep.
Send her back where she came from. So I looked it up, and like there is a multi-tier thing that you have to go through. You have to apply. You have to go through a background check, a mental health check, some other check. You have to do all these things. And then once you're done with those, you have to apply for, I believe it's called a PAC. And when you apply for that, it gives them permission to do a deeper background check.
Yep.
And you have to, so on first tier, you have to declare why you want this particular firearm.
Yep.
Not why I want a firearm, this particular firearm, what I'm going to do with it. And so they make you declare all of these things. And then you go to the PAC background. I think it's called a PAC. Let's call it that. And then if they determine that you can have a license, you also have to go through training and all these other things. And then you have to apply to get a registration for the firearm that you have declared that you need to use and So you have to go through all of these things. Like, it's a very extensive thing. And then you have to wait 28 days. So not only do you have to wait the 28 days, but you have all of these days ahead of that.
Yeah.
Before you get it. And there's no reasonable human being who thinks that I need to get a firearm on the same day that I want to get a firearm.
Because that's my thing. Any human being who's like, I need a gun now. Like, what do you need a gun now for? Like,
Yeah.
what exactly is it that, like, okay, hunting? Yeah, no. I feel like you plan hunting trips, right?
Right.
Like, you should be able to plan that shit out. You know
I
what?
mean, and if you don't have a weapon, I bet your friend does.
Right. And here's my thing. I went on a fucking camping trip last summer, and we were going to rent a boat. And do you know what I had to do before we went on that camping trip?
A lot more than I would have to do.
I had to, because I was born after a certain fucking date.
1982, I believe it was.
Yeah. I had to take an 8-hour fucking course on how to drive a boat to get a boating license so that I could drive a boat on a lake going like 10 miles an hour, even
And
though
the
I already have a
boating
driver's license.
was about, like, what do these buoys mean?
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
I
What
had to
is
learn
that?
how to drive on an ocean. Like, I had to learn how to do all of the things before I could even drive a boat on a lake in Ohio. And not only that, I had to learn about the ocean shit.
Yeah.
My boating license, because I did it online, is only good in Ohio. So I don't understand why we can have those regulations and that's okay. But, like, there is nothing stopping me from going to get a gun and get it in the same day.
And now that we're in Ohio, I think in the next 30 days, I'm unclear on the timing because it was 90 days from the time they signed it. We don't even have a conceal and carry requirement anymore.
Nope, they took that away.
And my husband was like, you still have to take the class if you want to do it. And I'm like, I don't have the personality that somebody should give a firearm to.
Well, and here's my thing. I don't want to have a firearm. I don't want to have to carry a firearm.
Right.
People are like, oh, well, you should carry one for safety. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I feel less safe when I have a gun on me.
Right.
Like, that would feel less safe to me. The fact that I have to carry a gun around would make me feel less safe, because that means I have to carry a gun around for my own safety, which makes me think that the environment around me is not as safe.
Right.
So why is that the first go-to? Because we have people now saying, well, we need to have armed teachers in every classroom. I'm sorry. Without the education and things that are required to get a gun, now you want a teacher to just have a gun with them at all
So
times?
here's the things that you don't give teachers.
Yes.
A satisfactory pay.
Nope.
Even though you require them to have usually a master's degree before they can advance to
And
anything.
you can
if not
bitch at
get
me
employed.
all day long about how they have 3 months off in the summer. Let me tell you, they do not have 3 months off in the
because
summer.
they have to be doing training. That's when they do their like extra
education.
training. Yeah, extra education. Which you would
They have to
consider-
prep for the next school year. And during the school year, when they're teaching classes, they don't get off
Right.
at 4 o'clock or whatever. They actually have to do like grade homework and things afterwards.
They don't have an 8-hour day. They have a 10 or a 12 or a 16-hour day.
Yeah.
So they're not getting paid enough to do that. They're getting paid a salary, but the thing with salary is that it's not hourly and you get fucked.
And they have to deal with your shitty kids all day long.
They
Sorry.
are not getting, no, you're fine. They are not getting money for the supplies that they need, because if you have a kid that's in biology or chemistry or physics, you have to pay for those supplies because the school can't afford to provide them. And the school and you can only provide the bare minimum. So there are teachers that are coming out of pocket out of their $53,000
Yep.
a year salary, which if that's your salary, you're taking home about $28,000 a year. They're coming out of pocket to pay for shit. You all of a sudden have money to invest in their training, in their qualifications, in firearms. And you're talking about people who you don't, I'm not saying this about art, because if you are still listening to us, you are clearly on the right side of things. But you're talking about teachers that weren't trusted. You have parents who couldn't do 4th grade math during quarantine that want to control the curriculum for all students because you don't trust the teacher to control the curriculum or assign the books or make the homework or have the discussion with the kids. But you want to give 68-year-old Miss Johnson the fucking firearm.
Right.
But you don't trust her to teach math.
If you are a parent who bitches about having to buy notebooks for your child, but in the same tone thinks that you will pitch in to help buy a gun for every teacher, then I feel like the priorities and the safety of our kids are like all in that statement.
And you know what? Not all teachers could actually probably pass a background check if you had to have a mental health background check, because there are some teachers that are molesting your kids. And we're crossing subjects, but so I'm crossing subjects, but there are
good teachers, there are bad teachers. There are good and bad apples in literally every
We're standing in front of the NRA convention this week and saying, Mr. Trump, that you have to make schools harder to get into, that you have to make schools more difficult. That fucker drove into a fence barrier. He was confronted by, the school system has their own police force. He was confronted by somebody who was armed. He was confronted by 3 police officers, and he still made it in the building, and none of them can figure out how to get in the building, but he made it in. And they all gathered. Like, there were more and more and more people that were gathering, and I don't understand what you think a teacher could do to combat that.
Yeah. The teacher is there trying to protect your kids, and
they would give their lives, but they shouldn't have to give their lives.
Right. They shouldn't have to.
And the Supreme Court has said that police have no duty to protect you.
Yeah.
They have a duty to protect those in custody. They have no duty to protect you. And a teacher would jump in front of your children. It depends on your children. But a teacher would jump. You know what? If you get
Basically,
to high school,
make sure your kids aren't shitheads.
Somebody might not want to do that. But when you're in elementary school, you're a pretty blank slate and your teachers are hopeful.
Yeah.
And they would jump in front of your kids to save them. But should they have to? And telling schools that they need to do all of these security measures, to me, is like telling a domestic violence victim that you should have protected yourself better, and then somebody wouldn't have attacked you.
Yeah.
I don't understand making the victims responsible for the crime.
Yeah.
If it weren't for you, the crime wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
That's not true. And then turning around now and saying like, well, it was a mental health issue. Fuck you. No. Mm-mm. It's not a mental health issue. There's an entire category for that. Well, there's an entire category that Reagan set off with, and I could go on for hours, but there is an entire category of shit that should be done because of mental health. And then there's an entire category that is just about stopping certain people from getting guns in their hands. A 28-day waiting period is not that big of a deal. A 28-day waiting period after you have completed safety courses and how you can handle the weapon and all this other stuff.
You get your driver's permit 6 months before you can drive a car.
I don't know if you had the same experience that I did in driver's ed, but I feel like they've softened it. I had to watch like horrific, gory movies of people who had car accidents.
I had to get my permit 6 months beforehand. I was not allowed in the car without an actual licensed driver for 6 months.
And after night, in dark.
Oh yeah, you weren't allowed to drive after dark. And you had to take a driver's ed course that not only had like classroom learning and the gory videos that
and
you speak of,
practical learning,
and practical learning where you had to go out with somebody who had a fucking brake pedal that could break you at any point in time.
Yeah.
Like you had to go through all of that training just to drive a car. And I understand cars are giant fucking weapons of their own, but like
you can't necessarily repeatedly hit multiple.
It's just it is so frustrating to me that we have so many laws and things for things that we use on an everyday basis that aren't, as deadly as weapons, but then for weapons and guns and things, we don't have the same stringent laws and stuff. And it's so mind-boggling to me because I feel like the general public, and if you're still listening to this and you're still like super like all about everybody needs a gun, like I don't think you are a person who thinks that everybody should be able to walk into a Walmart and buy a gun at any point in time at any day without any like kind of any kind of licensing or restrictions or background checks or literally anything else, getting somebody's name even.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a reasonable person would not be like, okay, well, this should be a thing that we should just be allowed to have all the time.
And here's my thing is that the majority of people who think that you should be able to do the least to get the most are the ones who have the least to lose.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, if you were a person of color and you followed the same rules as white me, you have a higher chance of being killed while being a legally responsible gun owner. Mm-hmm. And that I might be crazier than you. I might be shittier than you. I might be so many other things than you, but because I'm white, I don't have this high risk that you do.
Yeah, we have open carry laws, right? So
And,
like I can walk around with a gun just strapped to my back if I want to around.
Well, now we're going to have conceal and carry.
Right.
Right. Thing. So Ohio's fucked.
Yeah.
But I just, there are things that put you in danger, put other people in danger. And in all honesty, our law enforcement isn't expected to protect us. And we know that they don't protect law-abiding citizens because they shoot them. And that whole thing about like, you should protect people in custody. Fuck, just don't put them into custody. And apparently you can shoot them dead.
There you go.
That's apparently what we're at now. And I know that's not a popular opinion, but I am so pissed off that you expect a teacher to be more highly trained than a police officer who stood outside a building for 90 minutes.
Well, and not only that, this is the other thing that I'm terrible with reading Facebook comments, and I really shouldn't because it pisses me off even more than watching the news. But so the kid had bulletproof vest on and stuff, right? Had tactical gear on.
He had tactical gear on. He did not have enhanced body armor on.
All right. So here's the thing, though. You have an armed teacher. Are you expecting the armed teacher? Because here's the thing. If you're an armed
To wear
teacher,
a bulletproof vest
well,
in
not only
class?
to wear a bulletproof vest, but okay, so let's say they shoot the guy who comes in with the freaking gun. Do you think that they are an expert marksman that's going to be able to like shoot them in the head? Because I'm going to guarantee when you get trained, even a little training to shoot a gun, you're going to shoot for the body, right? 'Cause that's the biggest
shoot
target.
for center mass.
You shoot for center mass. That's what you're originally trained, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to do that. If he has body armor on, it's not going to make a fucking difference. He's going to shoot you before he can get his
Do you know
second
how
off.
hard it is to get a headshot?
Right.
Oh, let me tell you how hard it is.
Well, just shoot him in the head.
Trained
Yeah.
police officers and a trained guard did not manage to shoot
shoot him
them
in the head.
And the thing that Trump said is that like every school should have its own police department. And they should have its own uniformed person there. They fucking did. They had a fence. They had doors that locked. They had doors. All of the outside doors are locked. You shouldn't be able to get in except through the front door. They can't figure out how he got in.
Yeah.
Because he didn't go in through the front door, but they did all the right things.
They did all the things, and so now the
19
debate.
children and 2 adults are dead, and multiple children are injured, and multiple adults are injured.
The
and
lives of so many people have changed because of that.
And the fact that the Supreme Court says that like you only have to protect those in custody. Do you know where that leads us? And why is it all about race? Because it is. Where that leads us is that if you only have a duty to protect those in custody, then your only job is to take people into custody.
Right.
Which goes back to, and read your history. Actually, your history's wrong. Go back and you have to find it fucking someplace else. The entire idea of a police force is about capturing slaves. And we've moved it forward, and we've said that the only people we will protect are those that we can capture. And we don't care about the rest of you.
Which is shitty.
Or we're not trained to fucking defend the rest of you because we're only trained to take into custody.
So it's everybody else's job to defend themselves.
Right.
Which is shitty.
And it doesn't fall back to a 2A because a 2A never meant for you to have a multi-clip gun. It never meant for you to have an automatic rifle. It never meant for you to have an assault rifle. Actually, an AR is an assault rifle, not an automatic rifle. But it doesn't matter. It never meant for that to happen. Our forefathers meant for all this shit to be reviewed every like 30, 40, 50 years. And be like, let's update this shit.
And not only that, they wrote this shit when they were in the middle of a revolution trying to break free from a government that they didn't want to be a part of.
Yeah, I also don't want to be a part of this government.
I mean, not right now.
So, back in the day, there was a bar in Dayton. This is an abrupt subject change, but I feel like we did okay on the last thing. Back in the day, there was a bar in Dayton called Pulsations.
Ooh, chocolate.
Oh my goodness. So, yay, Diet and Bacardi.
Yeah.
The end of that spoon is right.
Oh, that actually is... I haven't had Bacardi in a long time. That's really good.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
Now I have a platform and a Bacardi.
So that platform is delightful. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's very, it delivers what it says on the can. Mm-hmm. Peach and apricot.
I like it. And here's the thing. I'm not usually a huge peach person, but
it's mostly apricot.
But I also, the white ale, like I like white ales, but I think I like white ales when they're a little bit flavored.
Yeah.
And it's not an overwhelming flavor. It's just a hint of flavor.
It's the hard seltzer of beers.
It really is.
Yeah. It just is a hint there that takes it away from you. So the whole Bacardi thing.
Yeah.
So when I was in my 20s, we had this friend. I was in my 20s. We had this friend who decided to get married at a very young age, which is stupid on her part. Didn't work. But we're also not friends anymore. But I didn't do that. She married. Okay, so let's go back. She married somebody I was friends with.
Okay.
I'm not friends with him, but not because of anything he did. Just time and space. And,
Yeah, well, things happen.
the time-space continuum didn't allow it to happen. So we take her to this bar, and this bar was 18 and up.
Okay.
And the best part about the bar, which is why she wanted to go, is because there was a strip show early. There's a male review.
Okay.
And then that went till
Okay, do you like those?
no.
Okay, I don't either. I find them uncomfortable.
So my theory has always been if you throw dollar bills at a female stripper, she stays. If you throw dollar bills at a male stripper, they go.
Well, I've been to a female strip club. I don't find that nearly as uncomfortable as being to a male strip club, but I'm not gay and I don't
Do
understand
you know what?
why.
Because there's no female strip club that you go into where they take your hands and forcibly put them on their chest or their ass.
That's true.
And then grind on you.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
I don't want to touch you.
You
You're
should keep
greasy
your hands
and
to
gross.
yourself. I
Yeah.
will say this, that a female strip club, I have had more tits in my face than any guy has ever thought about having.
Right. Well,
Because you're unthreatening as a female.
right. That's true.
So,
And I'll be honest, I love watching their shoes. I have a small obsession with shoes, and I love watching their shoes.
do they have fish in them?
Yeah, they do. I mean,
a
some
shoe
of
with
them
a
are
goldfish.
great, right? The glitter ones, love the glitter.
No, my thing is that a guy has never seen a female stripper crawl across to them like a female has seen a female stripper crawl across to them.
That's true.
Because there is way more intent when it's us than it's them.
Yeah, because they're like, you're a safe space.
Right? I'm going to rub titties all over your face and
'Cause
you're not
you're
even
not
going
gonna
to
grab me.
anything. Yeah, even if you were lesbian, you're not going to violate my personal,
Yeah.
whatever, my guidelines, my barriers,
Yeah. You're going to follow the rules.
what's the B word? The
Boundary? No.
boundaries. You're not
Boundaries,
going to
yeah.
violate my boundaries.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go to this bar because she wants to see the male review, and I'm like, all right, cool. Let's. I had issues with one or two of the guys who led the review. Do you remember the guy I said who we took on the haunted thing?
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the boxer. He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
also an exotic dancer.
Oh, okay.
Which I found out, I think, on this very night. So we get there because the first 2 hours, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. were male review. And then after that, everybody could come in. So at some point, I'm hanging out with my girlfriends. We're having a good time. I'm throwing dollars at strippers to make them go away. Because that's how things work. Because
Yeah.
you're just take it. Ah!
Take the money and leave.
Unless you're fucking with your friend and then you're like, here's $20, go climb on top of her, make her very uncomfortable. So there was some of that too. But at some point, the way that male reviews work, girl strip clubs don't work this way. The way that male reviews that I've seen is work is that there are these gentlemen that will come out and they will do their act. So it's just them.
Yeah, they have their own little
And
dance.
they do their thing. And then 3/4 of the way through the song and then into a next song, all of the strippers come out and work the floor. And then everybody goes back and somebody does their own act. And then all of the strippers come out and work the floor. And so everybody's rotating.
Okay.
And I am sitting there trying to entertain our bachelorette friend.
Yeah.
And I look over to the table next to me and I see Renee, who I've only known as my A, customer at a bar when I was a barmaid, and B, the guy I took haunted housing. So C,
That's uncomfortable.
we hadn't gotten to this point in his career yet. So he comes, I look over to the table next to me and I see a very naked little Mexican man. And I mean, I have never seen him in less than a t-shirt and jeans. And I look over and he is in a thong.
Ooh.
And it's from him that I learned how men's thongs are created for stripping. So that's sidebar. So I look over and he is dancing on the table next to us and he comes over to our table and I go, "Hi, Renee." And he looks up at me. I'm much taller than him. He looks up at me and goes, Hey, I'll come back and talk to you guys in a minute. So he goes to walk away from us and then realizes he's in a thong. So he is like, then he turns around and is facing me and then
trying
he's
to
still
like
in
back
a
out.
thong. And I'm like, dick or ass. That's all I'm getting. Dick or ass. Like, pick one. Pick whichever one you're more comfortable showing, because
Right.
I have never seen you in less than a t-shirt and jeans, naked. You're basically naked. We've known each other for 10 years and you're naked. He goes on about his thing. So it gets later in the night and the rest of the bar opens up and our bachelorette is 20. And she is itching to drink because we are fucking all drunk.
Well, yeah.
So she's like, I also want to be drunk, but we prepared.
Yeah.
And I said, do you mind? Alcohol kills everything. Do you mind this thing that I have in mind? And you guys will hear it as I do it, but I explained it to her ahead of time. She was like, I do not fucking mind this because again, alcohol kills everything. So she goes up to the bar and she gets a Coke, a plain old Coke. And because this bar is 18 and up, you can't take drinks into the restroom because where would you give your friends who are under 21 drinks?
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
So she brings this Coke to me and I take the Coke and I go up to the bathroom. In my pocket, I have an airplane bottle of Bacardi. We have several airplane bottles of Bacardi, but I have one of them.
Yeah.
And I go up and I go in and I pretend to pee and I put the entire, what are these, 2 ounce and a half?
Something like that.
I put the entire tiny bottle, 50 milliliters. I put the entire bottle in my mouth and I walk out and I pick up my Coke that I left with the bouncer. And instead of drinking through the straw, which is what it looked like I was doing, I put my mouth over the edge of the cup and just let all of the Bacardi fall out of my mouth into the glass.
Yeah.
And I took it to her and I did this repeatedly through the night. You will absorb some alcohol
In your mouth. You do.
in your mouth.
You do.
Because you're trying to get out. Somebody's stopping you. You're like, and then you finally get to release it. But so I was getting drunker as the night went on, but we were still doing this. And it was one of the best nights I have ever had, I think. I used to be that friend that you would take home because she blacked out every goddamn time. No matter how much alcohol I had, I reached a point in my life in my 20s that I was like, six drinks in, you should black out probably. 6 drinks in, I was like, I'm blacked out. And then I'm going to drink 10 more. So take me home. Take me out. Oh my God.
We'll end on a light note. So there's I get involved in a lot of shit because that's what I do, which I apologize to our listeners because that's probably why our episodes don't come out as regular as they should. I'm an over planner. If I have a day off and somebody's like, oh, hey, can we do this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't have anything to do that day. Okay. So I literally plan myself like every hour of every day to do things. I'm working on that. But in the meantime, so I help plan a big event that happens in town. And it's a full festival thing that happens all weekend long. And,
It's cool as shit.
It's cool as shit. A lot of stuff goes into it. And honestly, it's very, when you get to the end of it and like when you're in, like the planning process up to it is very stressful. But when you get into it and you see all these people having fun and doing stuff, like it's super satisfying and like very like self-gratifying. Like, hey, like I helped do this and, you know, it's fantastic. So the whole weekend ended and I had planned on going back to work like the day after and everybody was like, literally everybody else took off. Yeah, that is dumb. So I took off the day. Still had to work a little bit because there was an emergency situation and things. And the whole day ended up being a shit show because like the roofers came at 8:00 in the morning that were supposed to come like 3 days earlier.
You had a new roof put in?
I had a new roof put in on my garage because it was leaking multiple places. So
Good deal.
fantastic there. But yeah, they were supposed to come on Friday. Instead, they came on Monday on the only day that I was going to get to sleep in. And so got a phone call at 8 a.m. that was like, hey, can you move your car? And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't park in my parking spot all day on Friday because you said you were coming. But yeah, I'll go move my car now. That's fine. But so I go back to work on Tuesday, right? And Tuesday around noon, I get a phone call from one of the businesses and things. And they're like, hey, so there was a dumpster that you guys had for this thing. And the trash people came and picked it up. Well, apparently not everybody put all their trash in the dumpster. Instead, some of them put it around the dumpster. and the trash people, and I don't know if this is how you guys are anywhere else in any other city, but if you don't put the trash in the dumpster, the trash people do not pick up things on the ground around the dumpster.
That's not how it works residentially.
Residentially,
no. How it works,
but for businesses, if you do not put the trash bags in the dumpster and you leave it on the ground around, they will not pick it up. They literally just come and pick up the dumpster. So he sends me a picture and goes, all of this shit is sitting on the ground in front of my business's dumpster now. And this is left over from your shit. He was like, can you take care of this? And I said, absolutely, because that's what I do. And I text the group, and everybody's at work at this point,
absolutely.
Right?
It's my job. I'm not the chair. I'm just in a committee, but what the fuck ever, I'll do it.
I mean, I was kind of a chair. I don't know. It's a thing. I don't know exactly. I'm the person. So I was like, all right. And I text people, and everybody's like, I'm at work. I got to this. And I was like, all right, I will take care of this. And so I'm standing at work, and I'm talking to some people, and one of the guys at work goes, well, you can borrow my truck if you want. And I'm like, can I really? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, fantastic. So on a Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon, I am in a dress and fucking wedges. I took his F-350 diesel truck.
Jesus.
With the extended cab and an 8-foot bed. Drove it down.
You can put a fucking dumpster in the back of it.
So I drove it out, and I looked at the picture, and I was like, I feel like I can do this fairly easily, right? Load up the back of the truck, take it to the city dump it, whatever.
Now that it's stewed for 4 days.
Right. So I'm like, all right. So I go down there, and when I get down there, there's another fucking truck sitting like in front of the dumpsters, loading up tables and chairs and shit. So I'm like, hey, you guys gonna be here long? And they're like, well, that's right in our path. So I'm like, all right. So I go in this parking lot around the back of the dumpster. So I have to like drag all this shit around the dumpster to get into the bed of the truck. So I have boxes of empty like things of whatever. I've got trash bags full of shit. There was a couple of trash bags that were a little too heavy, and an 8-foot table that had a giant fucking hole burn in the middle of it because somebody lit their table on fire and then threw it. Didn't throw it in the dumpster, threw it next to the dumpster. And I'm like, all right. So
everybody in the neighborhood is just bringing shit to the dumpsters.
Still in the heels in the dress, climbing in and out of the bed of the truck to do this shit. So they leave, and I take the truck and I pull it back around to get the other bags in, pick up the one heavy trash bag that was like, I'm not picking this, and dragging it around, get it into the truck, hole rips in the bottom of it. Ketchup and mustard just comes pouring out of the bottom of it. So I'm dragging that into the bed, get it in there, get the 8-foot table on top of everything so it's holding everything down. I'm like, I didn't get any of the ketchup and mustard on me, but like it's just like ketchup everywhere. So I go to the dump. I had to wait in line for like a half an hour to get in there, right? I finally get in there. I'm like taking all this shit. And I love it because like, if you've ever been to the county dump, like you go in there.
I have, because Honey didn't have trash delivery when we first, pickup when we first met, because he was like, it's cheaper to take it to the dump myself. And I was like,
yeah, but it's less convenient.
Do you know how much time it takes you between dumps?
Yep. And so,
I would have gone every week.
Right. So I'm like, all right. So I pull in, I'm back in, and there's all these other people. There's all these dudes in like their jeans and work boots and gloves and everything else. And I'm in a dress and heels in the back of this fucking 8-foot like bed, like just chucking trash bags and shit out. And this trash bag that had gotten the hole in it. Oh no, there was like a huge pile of ketchup in the back of this truck.
Did you wash this man's truck?
Well, that's the thing. I'm sitting there going, well, now I can't just take this back. I've got to go wash it out. Right. So I get all this shit out of the truck, and then I have to go to the car wash. I get to the car wash. All I had was $1.25 on me. It's $1.50. And I see these other guys like 2 beds down. And I go over there. I run over and go, do you guys have any quarters? I only have $1 and it's $1.50, and I really only need the 3 minutes for the $1.50. And this kid goes, oh yeah, I got you. And he goes in and gets in his car, and he's like, I've got all the change. He comes over, gives me 50 cents. And so then I'm standing in the middle of this bed, like washing this thing out, in my heels and the whole thing. And I get the whole thing done, and I get back to work. I got back to work by 4:30. I'm like, all right, basically I took a 2-hour lunch break, right? Because I didn't take a lunch break before that. I was like, I'm going to do this on my lunch. So I get back to work. The guy had already left for the day. So I'm like, all right. So then I had to take the truck home with me overnight because I gave him my car keys when I left. So like we switched cars for that.
What a nice goddamn guy.
I know, right? Super fucking nice. I have the best coworkers. I'm like, this was super nice of him. But I'm like, and then I text the group and I'm like, okay, you owe me $5.90 for the dump, $1.50 for the car wash to wash the bed out, and you almost had to buy me a new pair of shoes. But I feel like you owe me a 6-pack for all the grossness that I had to go through. And they're like, I didn't expect you to do that. I thought you'd call the city. And I was like, I felt like if I called the city, which first of all, I didn't even know who the fuck to call. But even if I did, I figured they would have said it's our responsibility because it was our shit, whatever. So I just did it and it was fine, whatever. But yeah, I was like, this was my Tuesday. Last week. Yeah. So, apparently you can haul trash out in whatever the fuck I'm wearing. It's fine.
Brandy will do trash collection and disposable for you. What is it? By the pound plus $1 per pound.
That's right. I need to buy a lot of alcohol after that to make sure I forget all of the nastiness that I have to touch when I'm doing it.
Well, we went down there and you put on a lovely festival.
Oh, thank you.
It was great. Except you can't take alcohol into the rides area, which I feel like
the carnival. Yeah, you can't. There was concern about kids and everything, and I get
kids should not be taking alcohol into the carnival area.
So but yeah, everybody had a good time. It was fun. So it turned out really great. And it was a fun event. But yeah, it was my fun after carnival thing that I was like, all right, well, this is just a shitty part of the job, but you know what?
You asked for volunteers, and I was like, maybe. No,
it's fine. It's all good.
It was a hard no. Oh my gosh. Brandy, where can you find us?
You can find us.
Your notebook is behind you.
Oh, thank you. Oh shit, that's too far to reach. Hold on.
God, we are in a better position, and I'm hoping that there's not an echo, and Brandy just landed on her own foot.
Oh no, I didn't. I'm just stuck on the seat. Oh, I have a dress on and leather seats and my ass.
Thigh connection.
Oh.
If you've ever suctioned your thighs to a piece of pleather, that's what we're doing right now.
Oh my God.
But
all my skin, I think, is still stuck to the chair. All right. So let me flip through this real quick.
We can be found at locations.
All right. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at DBBL_podcast, at Facebook and YouTube at DBBL podcast, or our website at dbblpodcast.com, or you can email us at dbblpodcast@gmail.com.
Awesome. I appreciate you, and I'm very glad that we had this evening.
Yeah.
And there's still a little daylight out, so we can still go.
Oh, we're still in Doraland.
Yeah, we don't have to be at work tomorrow. So
woohoo! Cheers!
Cheers! Bye.
Bye. All right. I feel like it's got down to ice, and I couldn't drink it as effectively.
What else do you have in your bag of magic?
We've got some Bacardi. We've got some more popsicles.
Okay, I have to tell a story about the Bacardi.
Yeah.
We're still recording, right?
I turned this back on, so yeah, we're
okay. Hi. Podcast. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see the expression on your face. So I'm like, boots and pants. Boots and cats. Ooh. How'd you get that? He really, literally just cleared out the freezer. So when I was in, I feel like we should go up and get some cranberry juice.
And she put him on camera, and he goes, "Where's the purple?" And she flipped the camera over to her, and she goes, and I was like, "What the?" I was like, "What?" And he goes, "It needs more purple." And she looks at me and she goes, and I was like, "It's because you hate purple. Your son wants purple." I was like, Jesus Christ.